Why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bruh?
If Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons: money or sex.
TD Jakes, any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
It's very inappropriate of a man of a cloth to be at a party like that. And
TD Jakes, any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's all.
What if I told you Bishop TD Jakes didn't just retire? He ran, not for rest, not for legacy, but because the storm coming might bury everything he's built. Mo'Nique says she's got receipts, not gossip, but cold, hard receipts. We're talking leaked files, secret recordings, hidden footage, and a former bodyguard. He says Jakes didn't just show up, he took part. This isn't a church story. This is a cover-up unraveling in real time, and the fuse is already burning. TD Jakes built an empire of faith, preached to presidents, and led one of the most powerful churches in America. But now he is walking away. Forget the emotional sermon. Forget the legacy talk, because right now, the streets aren't whispering, they're screaming. Mo'Nique says this wasn't retirement, it was a cover-up, a strategic exit. The moment Diddy's legal mess started spreading, Jakes just happened to pass the torch. Publicly, it looked like a graceful passing of the torch. That's the narrative, but behind the emotional curtain, questions are exploding. Was this really just about health and legacy? Sure, Jakes did suffer a heart attack on stage last year. He even called his recovery a miracle. But the timing of this exit, right as Diddy faces federal charges, right as Jakes' name starts circulating in lawsuits and resurfaced party videos, and here's the twist: Jakes isn't just stepping aside. He's stepping into the shadows, leaving the spotlight just as heat builds around his alleged connections to Diddy. The church said rest. The streets say damage control. But one thing's for sure, this wasn't your average retirement. Before we go further, if you're already thinking, wait, this sounds way deeper than just a retirement, hit that subscribe button right now. We break down what's really happening behind the headline. No fluff, just fact, fire, and receipt. So tap that bell and stay locked in, because we're just getting started. Now, Mo'Nique isn't buying the wholesome handoff. The Oscar-winning comedian and Hollywood truth-teller came swinging with claims that Bishop TD Jakes didn't just decide to step down. He was forced out. According to her, this wasn't about rest or legacy. It was about escaping the storm that's coming for anyone tied too closely to Sean Diddy Combs. Mo'Nique dropped bombshell after bombshell, saying Jakes' name is floating too close to Diddy's ongoing legal disaster. And she's not just speculating. She claims to have real evidence that could blow this whole narrative apart. We're talking screenshots, audio files, and even videos. Not gossip, not rumors, but actual receipts. Mo'Nique has made a career out of exposing what happens in the shadows of power. And now she's aiming straight at one of the biggest names in modern faith. If she's right, this isn't just a fall from grace. It's a free fall. The trigger that lit this entire powder keg, a 98-page federal lawsuit filed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former producer for Diddy. The document isn't just long, it's lethal. It accuses Diddy of hostile work environments, abuse, and worse. But the shocker? Bishop TD Jakes' name is in it. No, Jakes isn't a defendant, but he's mentioned. And in cases like these, being mentioned once is enough to get scored. According to Jones, when Diddy's empire started crumbling after Cassie Ventura's explosive legal move, Diddy called in backup to clean his image. The man he allegedly turned to for spiritual credibility and cultural cover was Bishop Jakes. Think about that. As Diddy scrambled for PR protection, he allegedly looked toward the pulpit. That's not a casual favor. That's calculated damage control. And when your name ends up in a federal document connected to one of the biggest legal scandals in entertainment, you're no longer on the sidelines. You're in the splash zone. Suddenly, Jakes wasn't just a preacher in the background. He became part of the narrative. And once your name is in ink on court papers, facts or not, the public sees smoke, and smoke always leads to fire. Just as Diddy's legal mess hit full throttle, a video resurfaced, and it spread like wildfire. There was Bishop T.D. Jakes, front and center, smiling at Diddy's lavish 53rd birthday bash in Los Angeles. This wasn't a blink and you miss it moment. It was a clear, deliberate appearance at one of the most controversial parties of the year. Now, let's be real. Celebrities attend events all the time, but this wasn't a networking mixer or a charity gala. When people saw Jakes blending in with that crowd, jaws dropped. The man known for preaching discipline, modesty, and spiritual guidance looked very comfortable in a room full of everything he warns against. And when that footage hit the timeline, the public didn't just scroll past it. They rewound it. They screen recorded it. They dissected every smile, every glance, every second. Because when someone who represents moral authority is caught chilling in chaos, it's not just controversial, it's catastrophic. That clip wasn't just bad optics. It became Exhibit A in the growing case of what is Bishop Jakes really involved in. The moment the party footage hit social media and whispers turned into full-blown speculation, Bishop T.D. Jakes' camp went into full damage control. Derek Williams, EVP of T.D. Jakes Entertainment, rushed out a statement trying to calm the storm. His explanation: Jakes was in Los Angeles for business. He only briefly stopped by the party to say happy birthday, shoot a quick video, and bounce. That's the official story. But here's the problem. Nobody's buying it. Because if you're trying to avoid controversy, you don't casually walk into one of the most scandal-ridden parties of the year. Not when your brand is built on morals, faith, and integrity. Not when you're known for counseling presidents and preaching to millions. People started asking, why was he there at all? Why didn't he walk out the second he saw what kind of party it was? Why didn't he publicly distance himself from it after? Instead, we got sight and a carefully crafted PR message. And let's be real, when your name's getting dragged into a scandal this big, a polite press release isn't going to cut it. It just makes the whole thing look way more suspicious. Mo'Nique isn't just talking, she's promising a reckoning, and what she claims to have could shake the foundation of faith, fame, and public trust. We're talking about hard evidence, not hearsay, not gossip, but real files, screenshots, audio clips, maybe even videos from behind those velvet ropes at Diddy's infamous gathering. And if Bishop Jakes appears in even one of those files, it's game over. Because the man who's built a decades-long image of faith, discipline, and leadership could suddenly be standing in a digital storm he can't preach his way out of. This isn't just Mo'Nique playing media firestarter. She's framing this as a moral collapse. She's warning that there's a vault of digital blackmail just waiting to detonate. And if Diddy starts pulling the pin, Jakes might be among the first to catch the blast. In Mo'Nique's words, this isn't about church politics or a graceful exit. It's about avoiding exposure. The kind that doesn't just hurt your ministry, it burns your entire legacy to the ground. Just when the internet thought it couldn't get messier, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, stepped into the spotlight, and what he revealed sent shockwaves through every social platform. This wasn't some anonymous source. Gene was there, at the door, in the rooms, watching everything. And according to him, Bishop T.D. Jakes wasn't just an innocent guest at Diddy's controversial parties. He was actively participating. Let that sink in. This flips the entire narrative. It's one thing to make a polite cameo at a celebrity event. It's another thing entirely to engage in the chaos. Jean Deal didn't mince words. He says He saw it with his own eye. And when someone that close to the operation starts naming names, people stop scrolling and start listening. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's damning. Because if Jakes was truly involved in what those parties were really about, then we're not just talking about a misstep. We're talking about a double life, a bishop by day, and something very different when the cameras weren't rolling. Jean's claims aren't gossip, they're firsthand. And when you mix Mo'Nique's receipts with Deal's eyewitness testimony, you don't just have smoke, you've got a wildfire. Let's talk about the one thing that's making even loyal followers do a double take: the timing. Bishop T.D. Jakes didn't just retire on any Sunday. He made the announcement right before Diddy's legal firestorm started heating up, right as his own name began popping up in lawsuit chatter, party footage, and social media whisper campaigns. Coincidence? Not likely. Not when you've been in ministry for 47 years and understand how the media game works. Not when you've built an empire with book, conferences, movie deals, and a pristine image to protect. If there was ever a time to quietly step off stage before a scandal explodes, it's now. And it sure looks like that's what happened. The speech was perfect, polished, emotional, legacy-driven. But behind the carefully crafted moment, critics say it was a chess move, a preemptive strike to shield his brand, his family, and his empire from what might be coming next. And while the church celebrated a smooth transition, the internet was connecting dots, because in the age of screenshots and subpoenas, even the holiest exits are met with a side eye when the timing smells like cover-up. The moment Bishop Jakes stepped down, the internet transformed into an army of digital detectives. Twitter threads, YouTube deep dives, TikTok timelines, everyone started digging. Old interviews, party guest lists, sermon clips, Instagram posts, nothing was off limit. People began combing through every digital breadcrumb, looking for the truth behind the polished pulpit. And this isn't just idle curiosity. It's desperation for answers. Why was Jakes at that party? Why now? Why so silent? And why the sudden rush to erase traces of certain events and connection? Reports even claim Jakes has quietly pulled out of high-profile appearances, scrubbed his online presence, and may be prepping for a private life outside the spotlight, or even outside the country. And that's not just drama. That's damage control on overdrive. Because here's what the public knows. When someone moves this quickly, this quietly, and this strategically, they're not just trying to retire. They're trying to vanish. And in the age of receipts, silence screams louder than denial. The digital storm is only growing stronger. And with Diddy's trial ongoing, fans aren't just asking if Jakes was involved. They're asking how deep. This story has officially outgrown its headline. It's no longer about Bishop Jakes stepping down. It's about a reckoning, one that could rip through the worlds of celebrity, faith, and influence like a tidal wave. Because if Mo'Nique's claims are true, if Gene Deal's eyewitness account holds weight, and if even one of those alleged receipts sees the light of day, everything changes. Jakes isn't just a preacher. He's a brand, a media empire, a global spiritual icon. And if he's tied to the kind of footage being speculated, then we're looking at the potential collapse of an entire legacy. This isn't tabloid drama. It's career-ending, ministry-destroying, faith-shaking truth waiting to be uncovered. And what's worse, the silent, the strategic, lawyer-proof, press release, perfect silence. No denials, no direct explanation. As the trial continues, the fuse is burning fast, and we do not know the truth that will come out, or who else is about to fall with it. So, now the question is he deeper in than we ever imagined? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Mo'Nique? Do you think the files are real? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because when those receipts drop, we'll be here to break it down first. Raw, unfiltered, and real.